welcome to Australia and the start of World Ballet Day. I'm here with David McAllister, Artistic Director of the Australian Ballet.
Hi, and we're so excited to be here, kicking off World Ballet Day once again in the Southern Hemisphere.
Absolutely so excited. And over the next 23 hours, the world's premier ballet companies are opening their doors and allowing us all backstage. So that's non-stop, behind-the-scenes access to not only the Australian Ballet here in Melbourne, but also the Bolshoi Ballet in Moscow, the Royal Ballet in London, the National Ballet in Canada, and the San Francisco Ballet.
There is so much going on at the moment because we're just about to go to China, and we're going to be taking Alexei Redmansky's Cinderella and Graham Murphy's Swan Lake, which we'll be rehearsing today, as well as a mixed program which includes the beautiful Suite en Blanc and an Australian work called Unspoken Dialogue. And we're also getting ready for our Perth season of the Sleeping Beauty, so we're doing a bit of Sleeping Beauty, and yeah, we've got class, the whole thing.
Sounds fantastic. Now we're in a very special part of Melbourne, the Laneways, which is famous for its street art, one-off boutiques, tiny little cafes, and a favourite spot, it seems, David, for the dancers of the Australian Ballet.
Yeah, well, we're very close to the Australian Ballet Centre here, which houses our rehearsal studios. It also houses our wardrobe and the Australian Ballet School. And it's very close to where we perform at the State Theatre in the Melbourne Arts Centre. But also we perform in Sydney at the Sydney Opera House.
Well, World Ballet Day is all about getting to be a part of your favourite ballet companies for the next 23 hours. So I guess we should be heading to class too, right? But before we do, if you have a question for David, or perhaps a favourite dancer here with the Australian Ballet, you can tweet it to us at the @OzBallet, #World Ballet Day, and we will do our best to answer as many questions as we can throughout the day. So David, are you ready?
Yep, let's go.
Let's go.
Port de rise, okay? First, second, fourth, and fifth. We'll continue straight on to the other side. Thanks, Dunk, that'd be great. Yes, please. Here we go. And one. Open the hips.
They made it before us.
What's his role with the Australian Ballet?
Well, Steve was one of our big stars. He had a 25-year career with the company, and he was a principal artist. We actually joined the company in the same year, so I watched him become the great star he was. And then he spent some time away, and he retrained to be a ballet master. So he's now one of our ballet masters, and he's an amazing coach and wonderful teacher. And he did the teachers course at the Australian Ballet School, and so now he's one of our fabulous ballet staff, and he also coaches the dancers in all the repertoire that he used to dance, which is amazing.
Fantastic.
So this is at the beginning of class when everyone's just doing the nice slow warm-up, getting ready for the day ahead.
So this is their warm-up every day?
Yeah, this is the class that the dancers do every day, and it's a really important part of the day because it's where you prepare your body for the rehearsals and performances that come afterwards.
4 front to start, then 2 side, and the little développé back to fondue. Thanks, Dunk. Five, 6, lengthen legs, same again, and front, 2, 3, 4, side 5. Long position.
So David, today we've also got some of the international dance companies joining us, don't we?
We do. It's because this is our second World Ballet Day, to develop the idea and make it even more inclusive. Each of the companies that are part of World Ballet Day have invited other ballet companies to be a part of the broadcast. And here in Australia, we invited 3 companies who have sent us beautiful packages about their company. So the first one is the National Ballet of China, who are an extraordinary company, the national, obviously, as the title says, the National Ballet of China, based in Beijing. And their artistic director is Madame Fan Ying, and they're an amazing company. As well as them, we have the Royal New Zealand Ballet, who are our closest neighbour, just across the Tasman. And they're a wonderful company too. And we actually share a lot of Australian dancers in New Zealand, and a lot of our dancers are New Zealanders, so we have really strong ties. And then we also have invited Bangarra Dance Theatre, which is our own unique Australian company, who made up of wonderful artists from the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander heritage, and that's run by headed by Stephen Page, who's an extraordinary choreographer and artistic director. So you'll see all of them later on.
Fondue passe again. Coupe inside leg to passe.
So this step is a fondue, and which literally means to melt. And so the dancers are starting to really work on the strength around the knees in the fondue, because it's a lot of bending and stretching and coordinating both the supporting and the working leg to be doing the same sort of movement at the same time. And I always think it's the part of the bar where you're starting to get warm. When you're up to fondues, you're starting to get that feeling of not burn so much, but just that lovely warm feeling.
Yeah.
High passe. 2. Long leg. 4.
Of course, if you've got any questions for us today, send them in via Twitter, because we'd love to answer them. Just letting our audience know that, just in case they're not aware, and hashtag World Ballet Day.
All right, well done, very nice. So the last bit is the port de bras forward with the wrong foot in front. Okay, rise up, turn away from the bar, lift the passe up and over to 5th. All right, and then we start the other side. 2 front, third one is enveloppe, cloche through to the back. Here we go, good luck. Up, 5th, up, 5th, up, in, out, brush through, good. Make sure it's right behind you in arabesque, guys. Side and a 1, 2. Port de bras forward, right leg behind. Tourne away from the bar. Passe. Very good. Other side. 2. Good, very nice. Should be enough space. Here we go. Thanks, Dunk. Straight up and down. 1, 2, rush. Pas de bourrée.
I've got another Twitter question for you, David, from Sky Ramos. How many years do the principal dancers dance with the company before retiring?
Oh, that's an interesting question, and it's really individual, because everyone's career begins and ends, very uniquely. I guess just recently we've had a number of our really long-serving principal dancers retire. Just last year, Lucinda Dunn, who danced with the company for 23 years.
Wow.
And she was the longest dancing principal lady with the Australian Ballet.
How old was she when she started?
I think she was pretty young. I think she joined when she was 18.
No.
But she came to us from the Royal Ballet School, and then she became a principal, fairly quickly. And then she danced as a principal for all those years, and she's just retired last year. And then this year we lost another one of our senior principals, Madeline Easto, who danced with the company for 18 years. So it's sort of really individual, and sometimes some of the dancers, once they get to principal, they go and dance with other companies and then come back. So, but all of our principals at the moment, I think, are quite young, and I think will probably be dancing, hopefully, with us for a long time to come.
Great.
Last group.
I could honestly sit here and watch them in class all day for 6 hours straight and still be just as mesmerized. It's so beautiful to watch.
It's fascinating because, the building blocks of, ballet is set up in the class. And so you really see what people are working on and what they're perfecting. And sometimes in rehearsals, because the steps are set, you don't see that sense of striving and perfection that you can really see in class. I think that's why people love it, because it really is, it's like watching the painter paint the picture, not just looking at the final picture.
Yes.
2, 3.
It's also the one point in the whole day where you can actually fall over without anyone being upset.
Rush, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, easy. Good. First position, here we go. Thank you. Press down. Second.
So the ladies even keep their pointers on for the jumps, because as you can see when they're doing the releves, they actually do the releves onto point, where the guys just go onto the demi point or the half toe.
Go one more time. This time when you're close to fifth, we go left foot front. All right, breathe. Here we go. And. Open your shoulders, guys. Broad backs. Left foot front.
Some of the boys might even do the assault battue in this exercise. They tend to like to put them in where they can.
And lead with the heel. Wow. That's it. Yeah. More ladies in the group, please. Sorry, we have to push it through. And one. And up. Tolave. And pose it. Pose it. Jose, 5, 6. Gents, please. Guys, we need more in a group. And up.
So you can see the difference between the men and the women's exercise. The guys do a lot more of the big spectacular jumps at the end.
Please.
It looks like Steve's saying this is the last one. You've got to watch Cheng Wu, who's the Chinese guy.
Yes.
He's got the most amazing, look at that jump, it's incredible. He's one of our principal artists. It's an extraordinary, beautiful jump that just hovers in the air. Yes.
Wow.
Okay, guys, I've run a little bit over. Sorry about that. Trying to cram everything in. Thank you very much. Great work today. Have a good
So
day.
that's the end of class.
Wow.
We're here now with Lisa Pavan, who's the director of the Australian Ballet School. Lisa, what are we rehearsing here?
Well, actually, these are our graduate year level students, and they're just learning a new ballet, actually by the resident choreographer of the Australian Ballet, Tim Harper. They've only started learning this ballet just this week. We're really lucky that Tim's allowed us to have this ballet for our end of year productions. And the name of the ballet is Extra, which he did for the Body Talk season a couple of years ago.
It's such a cool piece.
Yes,
and such a great challenge for the dancers.
That's right.
too.
It's really fast-paced and energetic, so we're really excited that Tim's been allowed us to restage it.
Oh, brilliant. So, Susan, I'm
Yes.
going to leave you here with Lisa because I've got to go and look at another rehearsal and get ready, and I'm going to
Great.
see you in Studio 7 and 8
Yes.
later on.
Absolutely, and that's a rehearsal you don't want to miss, so stick around and we'll catch up with you
See you
later.
later.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it's that moment, I know it's a little awkward, guys, but that right arm, keep it low until you seal to the front so you really can make that big circle and then it's really catch something at the end, yeah? So delay, 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 so
So
you
what
can go...
are we watching being rehearsed right now, Lisa?
What they're actually doing now, they've literally only started rehearsing it or learning it on one day.
Oh, right.
So they're being instructed by Tim because it's very specific. The movement is really, it's really dynamic and really electric. And so you can see he's demonstrating there that he wants his arms in a very high line, which is probably something that the students are not so used to doing. It has more of that length, whereas we would have their arm down a little bit lower. So he's really very specific about the detail that he wants for this work.
Right.
The school, we are the National School of Centre for Ballet Instruction in Australia, and we are the school of the Australian Ballet Company. We've been working now for over 50 years together,
Wow.
working side by side, training the dancers to enter their ranks, and our success rate is wonderful. We're very proud of that. About approximately 75% of the dancers in the company have been through the Australian Ballet School.
Fantastic.
And of course they make positions throughout the world in other companies in Australia and are well regarded around the world, so we're really excited about that.
Well, we're going to just about to start rehearsing Suite en Blanc. This is a ballet that was taught by its choreographer, Serge Liffard, to the Australian Ballet back in 1981, and it's been in our repertoire ever since, and it's one of our most loved and most important works. So I'm going to let you watch now a little bit of Suite en Blanc. This is Ako Kondo, one of our principal dancers.
Yes, I love watching Marco.
And that's Brett Chillerworth, Marcus Morelli, Luke Marchant, and Joseph Chapman. This is a really tough dance. The girls have to jump as much as the boys and do all sorts of tricky pirouettes. And for the men, it's a real stamina piece.
Good girl. Okay, get this volley. And
Socially Far taught this ballet, and I got to meet him because I was a first year. And then the ballet came back in 1984 and I was in the company, and I actually did one of these boys.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we did a season, and then we took it to London in 1988, and I danced the mazurka, which is the lead role boy. So I feel like I've grown up through this ballet, and it's so much fun to dance, but it's really, really hard.
Really hard. So do you find with a lot of the different ballets that you perform, the school performs, that you've actually danced a role at some point in your career?
I think because, I mean, all like Fiona Tonkin, who's taking this rehearsal, and Stephen Heathcote and myself, we were all in the company for such a long time that we actually danced all this repertoire.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's amazing how they keep coming back. But I love watching the young dancers take on those roles today. And you can really empathise with them, just how difficult it is. That was pretty good.
Together,
Yeah.
together, wait for each other. Then you go down. Okay. Well done. Okay. Do you have anything? Do you have anything? Okay. All right. Very, very good. Okay, let's go into the first finale. Here we go.
So this is the beginning of the end of the ballet. So we've chopped again into this place. This is really tricky for the women because they have this where they have to be in patterns while they're doing these really hard pirouettes. You'll see them come towards us in a minute where they come down the diagonal in these what we call lame ducks, and they're a tricky step to do well, especially when you've got three other ladies to be in time with.
Hey, second side.
Adage where the guys are dancing with the men around the edges while the principal couple do a little pas de deux in the middle.
Great. At the National Ballet of China. Chongwu?
Do you want me to say something in
Yeah.
Chinese?
Please do.
In Chinese?
Yeah.
OK， 好，电视机前的中国的观众朋友们，那个接下来呢，我希望大家跟我一起欣赏由中央芭蕾舞团给我们带来的视频。
大家好，我是中央芭蕾舞团团长、艺术总监冯英。中央芭蕾舞团建团已经有50多年的历史了。那么我们在芭蕾舞的历史长河中是一个比较年轻的团队，但是在世界芭蕾艺术的宝库当中呢，中央芭蕾舞团也算是我们一朵美丽的花朵。那么在这个芭蕾舞的这个历史发展中，中央芭蕾舞团创作了许许多多具有自己民族特色的芭蕾舞剧，如《虞美人》、《红色娘子军》、《祝福》、《大红灯笼高高挂》、《牡丹亭》以及《过年》。
The company currently has more than 200 programs in its repertoire and stages 150 annual performances at home and abroad. With the Russian school as its foundation and with later influences from the French, British, Danish and other schools, this diverse repertoire covers classical, romantic, neoclassical ballets and other genres of Western ballet. In addition, NBC has won international fame for its successful fusion of Western ballet techniques and Chinese elements. The company continuously introduces masterpieces of modern and contemporary choreography. Meanwhile, the company also encourages a spirit of innovation among its young choreographers. To inherit and borrow from classical works, to explore and develop Chinese works, and to enrich and create contemporary works. This is how the National Ballet defines its three-pillar artistic approach.
在世界芭蕾的舞坛当中呢，有各种不同流派、不同风格的芭蕾。我们希望今后中国的芭蕾也能成为世界芭蕾各种流派当中独显风采的一支。
Last year on World Ballet Day, we did the whole of Act 1, but no one ever got to see any swans. So we thought this year, because we're doing, once again, this beautiful production on an overseas tour, that we're going to rehearse a few of the swan sections. Eve, over to you. Because normally in the Cygnets dance, in a normal production of Swan, they don't face anywhere but the front. But Graham Murphy, when he created this production, he had them weaving. So the girls not only do that dance of really intricate steps, but they're also weaving their arms and changing the way they're turning. And it's a really, really interesting dance to get together.
Just especially because they're going back and front and back and front. Yeah. I think that back could cross a little bit more, Heidi and Karen. Yep. There, yep, so we see your toes there. That's right, yep. And on the next step, after your échappés, for the cot, I feel like the cot can beat just a little bit more. Yeah. And the arms up, down, a little bit sharper on the arms. Yeah, do you want to just try that with counts? Ready? 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2. Oh, just, that's okay. From the échappé, yep. Good. 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2 and cross that cot and 1 and 2, cross that cot. Yep, good. Good. And this next step, if we really show the front and then the back behind on the next one. Ready? Just with counts again. 7 and 8 and 1. Going into and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's right. Yep. Good. And the next relevés, can they be a little bit more accent up and up on those before you do your up downs? Maybe we should try that with music. Duncan, do you have from after the échappé step? In the beginning? Yeah, sure. If I press right here. Perfect. Ladies, this is right on your échappés. Good, and. Good, thanks Duncan. Good ladies. Brooke, I think you're taking a slightly larger step back to the piqué arabesque before the front and front. Just a little bit. Let's do that
once getting into it. So should we go from your up-downs, from pas de bourrée front here? Yep, so you've done 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6 and 7 and 8. Yep. You okay? So I'll tell you what, Duncan, let's pick it up one more time from the échappés and we'll go into this. But have a look, Brooke, when you take that step back, that you don't take quite a big step back into the piqué arabesque. That's right before the tendu front in front. And then ladies, I feel a little bit more show the foot and the tendu front. Yes, really show croisé et fasté on that. So Duncan, one more time from the échappés. Thank you. Cross, cross, cross. Much better, good. And that's better. Good, thank you, Duncan. Good, 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 good.
We'll go from the stepmother's solo into the dumpy solo, into the skinny solo. Thank you, Stu.
Now, David, I've noticed some of the moves aren't like very pretty and graceful, like some of the other choreography we've seen today. How hard is it for the dancers to actually dance that way?
Well, I think because Alexei really built the character into the choreography, it feels really normal to do it because it is the way they find their characters through the steps. And it was really interesting because he made a real point of saying it's not you that's funny, it's the choreography that's funny. So if you do the choreography 100%, that's how the character is portrayed. And Amy was the original stepmother, so she worked with Alexei on this, so they created it together. So it really sits on her body, I think.
Stepmother?
Stepmother,
yes.
Yeah. And this is Eloise Fryer, and she's the dumpy sister.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't, actually the role was created on Helena Hills, who now lives in Europe. She's stopped dancing, but Ellie was in the room as well with Alexei, so she got it firsthand from him.
Very good.
So this is Ingrid Gao. She's the skinny sister,
right?
And she was the original cast. So this was created for her.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
They're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, they
right?
do. They really have a lot of fun. And she's got this fantastic sort of bubble skirt that when she's sort of looking like she's hitching up her pants, it's this fantastic skirt, and underneath she's got these sort of like pink knickers.
Oh wow.
It's very funny.
I'm going to have to chat to them about their costumes,
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. It's not quite the same in practice clothes. And they have these incredible wigs as well.
Oh, right.
So the skinny sister has this really long sort of skinny wig, and the dumpy sister has this sort of like ball on the top of her head,
Oh, wow.
all made out of hair.
We've had a lot of questions coming in about the point shoes and being on point. Talia
026 wants to know, what expectations do you have to meet to be on point?
Well, these days it's really strict actually, because they won't put girls on point unless they've had an assessment from their physiotherapist or podiatrist. So they check to make sure that the bones in the feet are strong enough, and that they also do a lot of strengthening of the feet before they put them onto point. So that in the old days, you know, sometimes people will put on point too soon and they could actually get bone malformation. So it's much stricter now, and it's really well regulated. I think, well, definitely in Australia. I'm not sure about in the rest of the world, but you know, it's very medically regulated now. So girls aren't put on point until their bones are able to take it. Yeah, and they've got to have the strength in the leg too, because it's not just the foot; it's the whole leg that supports you when you dance on point.
This is
So
where
don't
you
practice at home, basically.
need a little bit of technique.
If you've got an old pair of point shoes lying around, just don't throw them on.
Because it closes back, it's hard to get the heel under. The fouette is good the second time. This pas de chat is great. I think you can make a bit more of hitching your skirt up a little bit. I think it's probably where Skinny learns it from in the next one, so that we can see the foot underneath. This was great. Try to go a little bit out and in so that we can see, again, the out and the in. Exactly, yeah, really good. We can probably take this one a little bit more profile so we can see the pretty Jean Kelly shape. That was great. The chaînés are very pretty. The mime is great with the ladies. Actually, ladies, when you join her, let's make this a little bit more aggressive, this kick, a little bit more crass, so that you get kick and then body forward when you kick. Yeah, great. The push over the foot is great. I think put more pressure into the arm and the body going away at the same time.
Alexei was creating this ballet, because he would demonstrate everything, and he was so funny in all of these characters. He was just hysterical, and I think it's really interesting when I watch the dancers now. I actually see him doing it, because they all learnt it from him, and it's really interesting how, you know, his DNA is embedded in all these steps.
That's beautiful. Well, David, you also invited the Royal New Zealand Ballet to join us for World Ballet Day this year. What can you tell us about our closest ballet neighbour?
Well, the Royal New Zealand Ballet is a fantastic company. They're actually older than us. They were formed before the Australian Ballet, and but over the years we've had fantastic exchanges and things between our companies. We've had lots of Australian dancers dance with the Royal New Zealand Ballet, and we've had a lot of New Zealanders dance with the Australian Ballet. We're sort of like the Anzac of ballet companies, and they're a fantastic company. We have such a great relationship with them.
Kia ora, buongiorno, and welcome to the Royal New Zealand Ballet. Giselle, the ballet of the ballet. We are very honored to have the occasion to restaging this ballet for our international tour. This amazing production was made in a new version in 2012 by Eden Stiefel and Johan Coburg. Please join us in our rehearsal.
behind me, we're going to start rehearsing unspoken dialogue. This is a pas de deux that one of our resident choreographers, Stephen Baines, created. And we did it earlier this year in New York at a special gala that was organised by David Hallberg. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece, and it's going to be performed by Amber Scott and Rudy Hawkes.
Just saw.
It's really like a relationship that's sort of obviously not going well, and you see this sort of deconstruction of, you know, it's like dance making, but it's like speaking at the same time. And, you know, you watch and immediately you sort of feel like I've been there, you know, I understand this. Stephen's so great at creating works that are really emotive and really sort of tap into that real sort of inner feeling.
I guess that's the title, Unspoken Dialogue.
Exactly, yeah, because
Speaks to that.
I mean, it really is about that whole idea of a relationship, and it's not always, you know, falling in love and happy ever after. You know, sometimes you really struggle with those day-to-day sort of feelings and the miscommunication. I think that's what he so beautifully puts into this ballet.
And everything we're seeing happening right now on the floor is, again, so different from everything else we've seen today.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's sort of contemporary and yet it's still very much ballet. You know, Stephen is a very classical choreographer in a way that he always uses the ladies on point, but he loves to explore that sort of dark, emotional, you know, thing that happens between people.
And I can hear that in the music right now as well.
Yeah, well, it's an
darker.
amazing score from Schnitker. And he really, the thing about Stephen's work, which is so interesting too, it's not just about the steps. He really wants the actorly intention. Like he really wants the dancers to be real people and to feel the emotion.
Let's stop there. So we're way too early. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
The Australian Ballet performs both classical and contemporary works from all around the world, and our repertoire spans the last few centuries. But now I'd like to introduce you to a company whose dance technique is honed from 40,000 years of culture. Bangarra Dance Theatre, led by artistic director Stephen Page, is made up of 16 professionally trained dynamic artists who each share Aboriginal and/or Torres Strait Islander heritage. Their dance style is uniquely Australian, but they are applauded and loved across the world.
Hello and welcome to Sydney, Australia. Gadigal country. They are the traditional landowners of the area in which you are standing here today. This is the home of Bangarra Dance Theatre. My name is Tara Gower and I am a proud Yaru woman from Broome in the Kimberley. Bangarra has 17 dancers and each are professionally trained in a range of styles, from contemporary, jazz, tap and ballet. We also integrate Pilates and yoga. It is this fused with traditional Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander movements that defines Bangarra's style and makes us so unique. I better go and join in. Here's Yolngu elder Jakapura Manyayan in a production called Fish. Jakapura is one of our cultural consultants from northeast Arnhem Land in the very centre of Australia, who generously shares stories with us and guides us in bringing them to stage with the utmost cultural respect and integrity. We are the only Australian performing arts company whose stories are derived directly from the land. Our dance technique is grounded in its essence and fluidity. It's about being connected to the land where we draw the energy and spirit from, and it allows us to shape contemporary dance into a myriad of styles. It's about celebrating our heritage, our traditions, and evolving that through the 21st century through dance, music, costumes, and set design. We're able to tap into the spiritual consciousness of Indigenous storytelling.
What we've got coming up next is very special. It's The Sleeping Beauty, directed by the Artistic Director of the Australian Ballet, David McAllister. absolutely mesmerised throughout that whole piece.
It is beautiful, and we're so lucky to have the wonderful pianist, Stuart
Good,
Macklin, at the piano.
I'm just going to stop now because I
amazing.
haven't got anything to say, but I thought I'd give you a break.
Pushing them like a
Well,
hawk.
the solos. No, it's good. It's really good. We're still getting just a little bit late at the
Yes.
end there. I don't know
Watching
where
him
it comes
now.
from. Whether it's the balance or if you don't worry so long.
Kevin is
and
a
then maybe
wonderful
just cut it
partner,
down to a trim.
a really, really wonderful partner.
It's fine with piano.
They both seem to dance together really
Yeah,
well.
they do. They do.
Good. You ready? You happy to go
Okay,
on?
now for the solos.
So what's actually happening right now?
This is the solo, for the Princess Solo. It's a fairly traditional version of the solo. I think it's quite a lovely one for the men to do.
It's really beautiful. First step was beautiful, and especially on the second side, the cabriole was really good. Tours were great. Just after you go into your first load of jetés, it was just getting a bit high. That was really good after you did the chaînés though. Just be careful of that front arm. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. It was just the first couple that started going like that, and then by the time you got to the end, it was good. It was beautiful. Well done.
So next is the Aurora solo. Both solos here, well, the whole pas de deux is fairly traditional, just with and every company around the world does slightly different variations, especially on this first step. Okay.
fifth, you know, when before you go into the walks forward, it just felt like you had a little bit of weight too much on your, yeah. It just looked like the went onto the front foot a bit too much, so that you lost the fifth there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's tough because it's a effacé. You almost like need to be like overcrossed. Yeah, almost like if it's think of it almost on fast rather than too effacé. Yeah. Sisson's beautiful, really beautiful. Yeah, really good. I think once you get to the end, after these things, this one, jump, bump, bump, don't feel like you need to get around there too soon. You can actually take that, because it's like you're really controlling it. And I think from here, it's nicer to see it there and then just come around. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good, beautiful. Mondays was lovely. It was really good. Okay, coda.
What's happening now?
This is the end of the pas de deux. This is the coda. So the prince starts off with pirouettes, then it just ends up to a big finish at the end.
Here at the Australian Ballet. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Susan Mora. This is David McAllister, Artistic Director of the Australian Ballet. Goodbye.
Das Vidania.